In 2009, Richard Wrangham ran a simple but telling experiment. He gave the chimpanzees a choice: raw food or cooked food. Every time, without hesitation, the chimpanzees chose the cooked food option. They didn't need science to explain as to why it tasted better, was easier to chew, and gave them more energy. Now, imagine 2 million years ago, our ancestors weren't just picking between raw and cooked food, they were learning to control fire itself. In the dark plains of Africa, one lineage huddled around flames while leopards sprawled and hyenas laughed in the distance. That fire was not just heat or light, it was the invention that would reshape bodies, free time, ignite the mind. This was the spark that made us human. For millions of years before, life for our ancestors was slow and grinding. Think of a gorilla today, a giant body powered by raw leaves, chewing 8 to 9 hours a day, mouthful after mouthful, day after day, just to keep going. That was what life was like for Australopithecines, upright apes with small brains and giant jaws, forever bent over roots and fruits. Energy was the limiting factor. Brains are expensive, pound for pound, the most calorie hungry organ in the body. Our brains today are only 2.5% of our body weight, but they burn quarter of our calories. For raw food eaters, such an upgrade was impossible. The brain size of Homo erectus was approximately 900 cubic centimeter, significant increase from the average brain size of early apes like chimpanzees, which is around 400 cubic centimeter. This represents more than a doubling of brain volume with a similar increase in relative brain size due to body mass changes. Then about 2 million years ago, the fossil record reveals a break. Enter Homo erectus. Their bodies look shockingly different. Jaws shrank, teeth got smaller, rib cages slimmed, and the intestines reduced. Their legs stretched into long strides built not for climbing trees but for walking open plains. It's as if they were redesigned from inside out. What powered this redesign? Wrangham's answer is both simple and radical: fire. They didn't just discover it, they built their lives around it. But fire was no easy gift. Lightning could spark it, but rain could snuff it. It scared predators, but also drew them in. It gave warmth, but demanded constant tending. Two kinds of evidence tell us our ancestors had mastered it. Anatomical evidence: Homo erectus teeth and guts shrank compared to apes. That's only possible if food was already soft, safe, and partially pre-digested by cooking. You can think of cooking as the process of beginning the digestion before eating. Behavioral evidence: they had lost tree climbing features. Sleeping on the open ground without fire would have been suicide. Fire was their night guard. But the deepest conflict wasn't between humans and predators. It was between fire and biology. Raw diet just doesn't work for big brains. Wrangham gives a striking calculation. Gorillas already spend most of their day eating, still their brains stay small. There's no extra energy to spare, but fire changes the math. Heat breaks down starch into sugar, unfolds proteins, kills off toxins. Suddenly, each bite delivers more calories at less cost. That allowed our guts to shrink, our brains to grow, but it also freed up time. Instead of chewing endlessly, Homo erectus gained hours every day, and that time was revolutionary. It could be spent on hunting, tool making, or social life. Fire didn't just change food, it changed our schedules. But there was another subtler conflict Wrangham emphasizes. Cooked food can be stolen. A ripe fruit you pluck, you eat on the spot. A roasted tuber or haunch of kudu takes time and someone can grab it. That changed everything. It forced rules of sharing, guarding, and fairness. Who gets to eat first and who protects the food? Who decides? Fire didn't just make calories, it invented politics. From these flames rose the biggest leap in our story. Cooking gave Homo erectus more than soft meals. It gave them metabolic surplus, the energy to fuel bigger brains, and with bigger brains came language. With language came conspiracy. Wrangham points to a striking difference. In chimp societies, alpha males rule with brute force. They fight, they intimidate, they dominate. But once early humans could whisper by the fire, the tables turned. Beta males could plot together, coordinate, overthrow tyrants. Power shifted from raw dominance to cooperation. This was the real fire revolution. Social life was rewired and culture blossomed from it. Take hunting. Chimps hunt monkeys, but rarely for 20 minutes, maybe twice a month. Humans, by contrast, hunted constantly, sometimes for days. Why the difference? Because cooking provided backup for food. If the hunt failed, roasted roots at camp kept people alive. When hunt succeeded, fire turned tough meat into tender feasts. Hunting and cooking reinforced each other, creating a network of dependence between men and women. And suddenly, families were born. Wrangham tells stories of chimp hunts. When they succeed, the forest explodes with screams of excitement, chimps licking drops of blood. Our ancestors felt the same thrill, but they added something more. The fire transformed those kills into shared meals. The act of sharing reshaped societies. The greatest triumph of fire wasn't physical, but mental. Bigger brains gave more cooperation. Cooperation demanded language. Language opened imagination, stories, plans, even deception. Around the flames beneath the Serengeti stars, our ancestors told the first myths, conspired against rivals, passed down memories. Fire wasn't just a tool, it was a stage, a circle of light where human mind expanded into universes. Today, every human body still bears the marks of that ancient bargain. Our jaws are too small, our guts too short, our brains too demanding to live on raw food. Try it. The raw food diets collapse athletes, starve bodies, and shrink reproductive capacity. We are, in Wrangham's words, creatures of fire. And the echoes ripple forward. Cooking gave us calories for art and science. It gave us time to gossip, to argue, to dream. Even the shrinkage of human brains in the last 30,000 years, about 10% smaller than Ice Age skulls, fits Wrangham's picture. Just as domesticated animals have smaller brains than their wild cousins, but greater flexibility, humans traded sheer volume for efficiency. Fire and cooking made us not just clever, but cooperative, teachable, endlessly inventive. Think of Wrangham's own experience. He writes about nights in the African bush when he would never dare sleep without a fire. Even today, in a modern tent with a flashlight, that instinct remains. Fire is protection, fire is community, fire is memory. The first campfire, Wrangham says, was also the first classroom. In its glow, humans learned the rules of sharing, invented politics, told myths, planned hunts, and plotted rebellions. It was not only warmth against the dark, it was the crucible of imagination. Without fire, we would still be apes chewing roots, jaws aching, brains limited. With fire, we became human, hunters and storytellers, conspirators and dreamers, artists and scientists. The spark that made us human still burns in every cooked meal, every gathering around a hearth, every story told by firelight.